From earlier on this morning, we were giving you feedback that the fires, specifically here in the Tsitsikamma area, have been contained and are under control. At that stage, the wind was blowing southwesterly, which was in favor of the conditions because it was blowing away from the residential areas and as well as the petrol station, which was a huge concern, well, still is a huge concern for this area in terms of ensuring that the fire doesn't spread through to that area that does have the petrol station. But I think in terms of an update, let's speak to Mr. Pillay to tell us what are some of the options or methods that you're considering after having have evaluated or at least looked into the situation this morning.
We've been looking at the situation and looking at the wind direction in particular, and what we want to do is ensure, as you indicated, that the fire is moving away from the areas where the people are living. We are looking at the options of continually looking at the weather conditions to assess whether we should introduce backburning. Backburning means you will start the fire and it will burn towards where the fire is, the direction of the fire from which it is coming. The other options we are looking at is possibly again introducing more teams onto the ground. We've got an additional 2 teams that have just arrived in the area, just to relieve the people that have been working since this morning. The last option we want to look at for this for today, before we wrap up, is hopefully to make sure that our standby crews that we've put on hold in the various centres for them to be available to be also on site. I think it's important that we contain this fire as quick as possible so that we alleviate any fears or reduce any risks.
And then, Mr. Pillay, just in terms of, there's a lot of forestry in this area and a lot of plantation as well. But in terms of the wind, it seems to be picking up in comparison with what we had this morning. Is that a bit of a concern?
Yes. Whenever the wind picks up, it's always a concern. And it's very difficult to predict. You would think that you got matters under control, but even where areas where the fires have actually subsided, an increase in wind speed can cause a flare-up, and that is always a concern. As you have indicated, this area is full of forests, and lots of fane boss. And fane boss you have to burn every 7 years or so. And we need to have this controlled burn so that we don't have the situation flaring up again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pillay. Well, there we have it. Some of the options that are on the table, specifically for the Tsitsikamma area to try and keep the fires contained. There are a lot of people that are on the ground, about 200 to 300 people that are trying to assist in terms of handling the situation. We do know that they're also doing a bit of bush clearing to ensure that should the fire flare out of control, at least they have some sort of control with the area that is specifically close to the petrol station. But for now, it's back to you guys in studio.
More news for you after a short break.